much of the infrastructure from the heritage days of LC-36, and we took it up to its modern standards.
Well, let's talk about New Glenn. New Glenn is behind us out on the pad. How is NG3 different than previous New Glenn missions, and how will New Glenn, I guess, continue to develop for future missions?
Well, NG3 is a huge flight for us. It's the first flight of our reflown booster. We had a very successful second flight where we were able to recover this booster, and on that second flight we learned a lot. We had some things that were surprising that we weren't expecting to learn. We had a lot of very pleasant surprises. So this flight, we're very much looking to see some of the changes that we made from the second flight, see how they perform on this next flight, and it's going to be historic for us. This is the first time we're flying a reused booster. Definitely super proud of our refurbishment team for getting this rocket turned around in the time that they did, and I think we can go even faster as we move forward.
Can you tell me a little bit about those changes that we made, that you're looking at, especially as we are relaunching Never Tell Me the Odds?
One of the things we did with this particular booster is we added all new engines. There's a couple reasons why we did that. So we're definitely looking to see how those engines perform in this flight. We refurbished our thermal protection system on the back end of the rocket as well. That gets pretty hot as you're coming in during our re-entry process. So we want to definitely see and correlate a bit better our thermal environments as we're flying this particular mission. And then, in terms of our guidance, navigation, and control schemes, we made a few tweaks with respect to how the rocket actually re-enters. And then on the inside of the rocket, just making sure all of our systems continue to work as we expect that they will.
Jordan, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And Alice, it was so great to be able to talk to Jordan Charles about the importance of this mission and why it, of course, also matters to our customers. We're getting really close now, so I've joined you up here at the desk. So let's walk viewers through essentially what they're going to see with this flight profile.
Yeah, let's take a look. All right, so at liftoff, 7 BE-4 engines on the booster will ignite and push New Glenn off the pad with 3.8 million pounds of thrust. About a minute and a half in, then New Glenn will go supersonic, which is faster than the speed of sound. Just after that, at around 40,000 feet, New Glenn will hit max Q, where the aerodynamic stresses on the vehicle are at the highest.
Yeah, then right around the 3-minute mark, the booster engines shut off. That's the end of the boost phase. This is where the rocket splits in two. The first stage, our booster, starts its trip back to Earth. The second stage keeps going with the satellite on top. The booster then flips itself around using small thrusters, fires its engines for a re-entry burn to slow down through the atmosphere, and then lets its computers guide it in, and then fires what we call a final landing burn to touchdown. It's aiming for our recovery ship, Jacqueline. That's a big floating platform out at sea about 375 miles off the coast.
Now, while all of that is happening, the upper stage is climbing towards orbit on its 2 BE-3U engines. At about 360,000 feet, the payload fairings, those are the protective clamshells that cover the satellite, they'll split open and drop away. About an hour and 16 minutes after liftoff, the AST BlueBird satellite then separates from the vehicle.
And here we are at about L-minus 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's toss that can take AST satellite out on the pad where it waits to launch. We'll also eventually take our Blue Moon Mark 1 lander to the moon. And here we are at about L-minus 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's toss it to New Glenn out on the pad as we await the launch of NG3.
Out it goes.
You were watching the launch of NG3. You see New Glenn out there on the pad. We're at T-minus 3 minutes and 57 seconds. We have entered a hold. This is prior to terminal count, and a new T0 is forthcoming. Now, while we're in this hold, I want to talk about New Glenn a little bit more. This isn't just a rocket, of course. It is a big step forward in how we get to space. At 321 feet, which is 98 meters, this is an orbital launch vehicle built around a single idea. If we're going to have millions of people eventually living and working in space, we need a much cheaper, much more reliable way to get there. It can carry up to 45 metric tons to low Earth orbit and 13 metric tons to geostationary transfer orbit, the higher orbit used by a lot of those communication satellites. Now, the first stage, the booster, is designed to fly at least 25 times. Every time we land it and fly it again, instead of throwing it away, the cost of going to space comes down. And the fairings, that's the protective nose cones that cover the payload, is 7 meters wide. That's about twice the usable volume of most fairings that are flying today, which means we can carry bigger and more ambitious things. New Glenn isn't just changing how we get to space, it's changing what's possible once we get there.
The first stage, it is designed from the ground up to be the payload volume of New Glenn was all developed. We have a second stage that is one of the largest upper stages to ever fly to space. We have a first stage
New Glenn being a reusable
designed from the ground up to be operationally reusable.
Future lunar missions. It's going to allow us to
We have a second stage that is one of the largest upper stages to ever fly to space.
New Glenn being a reusable launch vehicle is so beneficial to future lunar missions. It's going to allow us to keep that cadence going, where we'll be able to launch multiple landers over and over again so that we can reduce the cost of access to the moon.
It is designed to be an incredibly resilient vehicle with a tremendous amount of mass to orbit capability. We can do anything from low Earth orbit missions where we're deploying a whole lot of small spacecraft to geostationary missions where we've got a large monolithic spacecraft.
We can do very large modules of future commercial space stations on a single launch. We can take dozens and up to 50 to 100 satellites per New Glenn mission. It is our avenue to significantly reduce the cost of access to space.
We've been working with a huge variety of customers, and they're really rethinking their business models because of what New Glenn unlocks for them.
New Glenn will be able to launch a lander to the moon in a single launch. That's an incredible capability that this one launch vehicle will be able to do. We built these landers specifically to fly with New Glenn. And that's what's so great about having the launch vehicle and the landers all part of Blue Origin, is that we work together.
It really is the infrastructure, the building block, the foundation of how Blue Origin will enable building a road to space.
We've got a number of programs we're working on which will benefit national security customers and other customers, providing on-orbit maneuvering capabilities. We're working, of course, with our own internal teams to deliver new capabilities that Blue is bringing. But New Glenn is going to be delivering all kinds of spacecraft today, all kinds of new systems, all kinds of capabilities. And New Glenn is the vehicle that can take NASA or anyone, anywhere in the solar system.
We foundationally developed New Glenn for what we think space is going to look like 50 to 100 years from now.
It will allow us to go to the moon, to asteroids and other planetary objects, and use those resources to learn how to live off the land in space.
New Glenn is going to unlock so much potential that we don't even know about yet. We're laying that infrastructure so that the next generation can do amazing things in space.
And as you see a live view of New Glenn out on the pad, we are still in a hold at T-minus 3 minutes and 57 seconds.
Yeah, let's sit on the rocket just for a minute. Looks beautiful, of course, over at sunrise, and we'll be back with you shortly. You are watching the launch of NG3. Right now we're at T-minus 3 minutes and 57 seconds. We are currently in a hold and our team is working on getting you a new T0. Now, Alice, we have to talk about this because one of the best parts of watching a rocket launch is actually getting to watch the rocket launch. So let's kind of walk through where throughout the country you can see New Glenn take to the skies today. This graphic shows where you'll be able to see New Glenn as it climbs through southeast of the southern eastern part of the United States.
Yeah, so within 60 seconds, New Glenn will be visible across all of the Space Coast here in Florida.
And then within a minute and a half, NG3 will be visible as far as Orlando.
Within 2 minutes, people on the west coast of Florida will be able to see our launch.
And then around 2.5 minutes, we will be able to see it in Georgia. All right, we're going to toss it back over to the rocket right now as NG3 is out on the pad. We're at T-minus 3 minutes and 57 seconds. And again, we are in a hold.
Now, if you've just joined us, this is the mission NG3, the third flight for New Glenn. And now, while we are in a hold, we wanted to take a few minutes to share some of our big milestones of the lunar program. here at Blue Origin. On your screens is our Mark 1 lunar lander named Endurance. It just finished a critical round of testing at NASA's Johnson Space Center.
Yeah, you're looking at New Glenn on your screens, but there's Endurance. Yeah. Now, they did what is called a thermal vacuum test, or TVAC. Now, it does simulate the extreme temperatures and vacuum of space, so we can prove the lander will survive everything that it's going to go through and face on its way to the moon and the lunar surface itself.
And the place that this test happened really matters. Endurance went through TVAC in the same chamber that once tested the Apollo command module and the Apollo lunar lander, the same chamber that helped humans get to the moon the first time.
Endurance just got back to Florida. In fact, as I talked about with John, I got stopped in traffic as I watched Endurance come back, and we've got a full test campaign ahead.
Yeah, now that test campaign includes modal testing, separation shock testing, and electromagnetic compatibility testing, along with some vibration testing. Each one checks a different way the lander could get stressed, shaken, or interfered with on its trip to the moon.
Each test gets us one step closer to launch and ultimately to landing on the moon. Right now, you are watching NG3. New Glenn is out on the pad. We are currently in a hold, and we're going to toss it back over to the rocket as we await more information.
All right, welcome back to NG3. As you might see on your screen, the L clock is now ticking down from L minus 20 minutes and 30 seconds. Now let's take a minute here. We just spoke to Megan Lewis downstairs a little bit earlier in today's webcast, but we wanted to give you a little bit of insight into what it's really like to be in mission control. So we caught up with Megan Lewis, and she's going to walk us through some of the final moments leading up to launch, as well as her family connection to the history of flight.
I think anyone who's interested in rockets is super curious as to what happens in this room as we're kind of in that crunch time.
All of the operators, we have our consoles upright, which is just like a computer that has virtual buttons that will click in the computer to send commands over the fiber network to the vehicle and launch pad system. And once the clock passes that T-4, all control gets handed over to that terminal count sequencer that is now controlling the rocket. The launch director sits here in the back row so that we can kind of oversee the whole operation here.
Tell me more about this guy.
Oh, this is Wile E. Coyote. This is a tradition we brought over from New Shepard, actually. When they bring out the rocket to the pad, the flight director at New Shepard is responsible for placing Wile E. Coyote in the launch position, which is like this.
There we go. That's so cool because there's already so many crossovers between the programs.
Right, and it's so translatable. The rockets are entirely different scales and entirely different sizes, but from a process perspective, we have been able to learn a lot from them.
You come from a line of individuals who also did some great work, and your bracelet is a representative of that.
This bracelet is a charm bracelet that my grandfather actually gifted to my grandmother. My grandpa worked on the Apollo missions as an engineer for their crew capsule, and every Apollo mission that he contributed to, he got her a charm. This has 7 charms on it for the 7 missions that he worked, and I wear it for every New Glenn launch.
Right now, what do we have? 10
You'd be so
camera
proud
feeds?
of over
The work
24
that we're
million
doing
pixels
here
and
and
carrying on everything that they worked on, which is so useful on launch day to be able to see what's going on.
This screen is epic, and it is divided into, gosh, right now, what do we have? 10 camera feeds?
Over 24 million pixels, so it's about 47 feet wide here, which is so useful on launch day to be able to see what's going on, investigate any issues, anything that comes up. This video wall has been awesome.
What would you say is your favorite feed?
My favorite feed is that one right there. That is the second stage engines looking back. So when we separate stages, you'll be able to see stage 1 separate behind stage 2. That one followed by, of course, Jacqueline, where we're gonna see the booster land. So those are my 2 favorites.
What is your message to your team?
This team puts their absolute heart and soul into this rocket and what we do, and the sacrifices that comes from them and their families and their time off is not unnoticed, and it is just such an honor to be a part of that team, and they should just be so proud of themselves. That would be my message.
All right, friends, you are taking a look at New Glenn out on the pad. You are watching NG3, and we're going to toss it over to the rocket as we await another go, no-go poll for terminal count.
Go. Confirmed all external assets can support new 20 of 1125 Zulu.
Okay. All stations are still on count 1. Cry 2, you're approved to put those steps inward. All stations LD on count 1 with your go pull for terminal count. When pulled, respond go or no go. GC.
Go.
LC1.
Go. No go.
LC. Say again.
Stand by 1.
LC2.
Go.
LSO.
Go.
LSM.
Go.
RC.
Go.
ESR.
Not ready. Stand by. Go pending the trajectory upload to the for the radios.
Delta Caps. AC.
Go.
Recovery.
Go.
PLI.
Go.
DMD.
DMB is go.
We are go pending LC1 completing final PDI uploads. And Crowd 2 completing his actions from DA. GC LC1 LC2 configure for terminal count for step 2-2 L7000.
LC1. GC copies.
You are looking at New Glenn out on the pad. This is NG3. We're at L minus 12 minutes and about 55 seconds. We are a go pending final work leading up to terminal count. As we get a new T0 time, I will go ahead and toss it back over to the rocket, and we'll keep you informed. All right, we're around L minus 10 minutes and 30 seconds, but let's spend a minute on Jacqueline. That's our landing ship, the one that brings the booster home. Jacqueline is central to how we make New Glenn reusable. The whole idea is launch, land, and repeat. Jacqueline is the land part. It's the floating platform that stations itself hundreds of miles downrange from the launch site, and it waits for the booster to come back and then makes the trip back home with the booster on board.
The Jacqueline is the landing platform vessel where New Glenn will come down, land, and we secure it and bring it back in.
She's 380 foot long, 150 foot wide, and she's a self-propelled vessel. We are the recovery side of the operation. This is where GS1 is going to land, and actually that feather is a center point.
We have to leave 4 days before launch. We check all our equipment, and we ensure that everything is working, everything is fully functional. We transit for 300 to 400 miles, depending on how far the landing location is. And once we get there, dynamic positioning allows the thrusters on board here will hold this in position within a range of about 10 feet.
We'll have a couple small changes of Jacqueline's position. They're going to feed us new coordinates, right? So we might move 500 yards this direction, a little that way, but we're generally in the area. And right up to like 45 minutes or an hour before, that's our final position.
When the booster lands, the ROV will come out. Once it's mated with the booster effectively, we'll start pumping high-pressure nitrogen into the booster, which will allow the detanking process to continue to make the booster inert and safe for us to operate around.
These are the transit stands. These are what we actually use to secure GS1 to the deck. Each one of these units is individually controlled. We'll have 6 different operators operating them out under the vehicle, and then we're able to lock out the stands, which basically rigidizes GS1 to the LPV deck and allows us to bring it home.
The complexity of what we do out here is pretty important because we operate in such an isolated environment. We're hundreds of miles offshore. We're relying on satellite communication.
The one thing about working on the ocean and in the elements, we fight it. It never wants to work with you. The best you can do is just get along with it. I hope people understand how important reusability is to this program. Us being out here and allowing us to retrieve these vehicles and bring back and reuse them, we reduce the cost, we reduce pollution.
My favorite part of being Team Blue is how everybody works together as a very cohesive group. This is really, really rewarding just to kind of see everyone marching together towards one successful landing operation.
And it's so great to be able to share everything we know about Jacqueline with you guys, because I actually got to go out on the Jacqueline, and I can tell you they are a very succinct team, and they're very proud of the work that they do here at Blue, and we're very proud of them, certainly as part of Team Blue. You are looking at New Glenn out on the pad. This is NG3. We're at L- 7 minutes and 10 seconds. The countdown continues as we get closer to launch. We are going to throw it over to that beautiful rocket and just sit with it for just a moment, because this is a beautiful day and a great day to launch. You're looking at New Glenn out on the pad. This is NG3. We're at L- 4 minutes and about 30 seconds here. Now, in these final 4 moments that are coming up, New Glenn is switching to its fully autonomous mode, meaning that the flight computer takes over and people on the ground stop commanding it directly.
This is where we hand off to Patrick Moore. He's inside mission control. We talked to him earlier. Now he's going to take us through launch and landing.
Yeah, we do not understand the full impact, whether it's full loss of A functionality or redundancy therein.
All right, we've got Team Blue across the United States. We're talking Kent, Washington, Launch Site 1 in Texas, and of course, Huntsville, Alabama, with a live look at NG New Glenn out on the pad for NG3. We appreciate everyone getting up early, especially our friends out on the West Coast. It is early for them. You will be able to hear from Patrick in just a moment. We're at T-minus 3 minutes into the launch of NG3. Big shout out to you guys. We love you, Team Blue. There is New Glenn. Again, the countdown clock is ticking. T-minus 2 minutes and 40 seconds till launch. Shortly here, you should be able to hear from our Patrick Moore, who is inside mission control.
T-minus 2:30. GS1 pre-press start. GS2 chilled pre-press start. I don't know what that is. Okay. T-minus 2 minutes. AFTU capacitor charged.
Inside mission control.
T-minus 2 minutes. AFTU capacity minus 130.
Inside mission control. You can probably hear our Patrick Moore just faintly. He just said T-minus 130.
Power internal. T-minus 2 minutes. AFTU capacity minus 130.
T-minus 60 seconds. Rock report range status.
In this last minute here, inside started up the hydraulics on the forward and aft. You can probably hear our Patrick Moore start to faintly. He just said T-minus 130. Rapid. The rest will happen very much so in rapid succession. And then the next 15 seconds, we could be seeing what we call big water, which is the water deluge. And then the next 15 seconds, we could be seeing what we call big water, which is the water deluge. And then the next 15 seconds, we could be seeing what we call big water, which is the water deluge. And then the next 15 seconds, we could be seeing what we call big water, which is the water deluge. And then the next 15 seconds, we could be seeing what we call.
Yes, this water deluge system that Tabitha just mentioned is turned on, and the system provides acoustic. When turned on, it will provide acoustic suppression to protect the vehicle from shock waves and also to cool the launch pad. There we go.
3, 2,
big water.
1.
We're at T-minus 3 seconds.
Bottom of your screen, you can see telemetry there, as well as our time clock.
Skyno, provide first motion time. First motion time, 11:25:01.
And New Glenn has cleared the tower. As you follow New Glenn's journey along, look to the bottom of your screen. You can see telemetry there, as well as our time clock.
Perform post-liftoff fire inspection sweep using LC-36 cameras.
Great shot looking back from New Glenn as it soars to the sky. We're about a minute into flight.
Soon the vehicle will reach maximum dynamic pressure, which is the point at which the pressure on the vehicle is at its highest.
GC-OSM, perform post-liftoff fire inspection sweep using LC-36 cameras.
Great shot looking back from New Glenn.
A little bit now.
Yeah, as it soars to the sky. Like it's right down about a minute into flight.
Soon the vehicle will reach maximum dynamic pressure, which is the point at which the pressure on the vehicle is at its highest.
Oh, we can feel the rumble here in the studio.
1 minute, 30 seconds.
A little bit now.
Yeah, starting to come in. It looks like it's right down the middle of the corridor.
Now passing max Q, maximum dynamic pressure.
We have passed max Q. That means the vehicle is supersonic. We can feel the rumble here in the studio.
5 seconds in. 1 minute,
You can hear
seconds in flight.
everything's looking good.
Now 11 kilometers downrange. Traveling at 1 kilometer kilometer per second. Passing max Q, maximum dynamic
Traveling
pressure.
1 kilometer a second. We have passed max Q. That means the vehicle is supersonic. I apologize here. I'm repeating a bit of what Patrick's saying because it sounds a bit low to us. It might sound low to you. You can hear everything's looking good.
Now 11 kilometers down, seconds in, less than 1 minute, traveling at 1 kilometer per second.
Less than 1 minute to Miko, which is main engine cutoff. I apologize here. I'm repeating a bit of what Patrick's saying because it sounds a bit low to us. It might sound low to you. About to pass 2 minutes and 30 seconds into flight.
Trajectory is good. It's 10 seconds in, less than 1 minute.
Trajectory is good.
30 seconds in.
Less than 1 minute to Miko, which is main engine cutoff. About 30 seconds to Miko.
Secondaries observed.
Acceleration profile continues to look good. Body
Wow.
rate's phenomenal. Body rates continue to look good throughout boost phase.
A lot of things are going to happen
2
really
minutes and
quickly.
30 seconds into
Miko,
flight.
main engine cutoff, followed shortly by stage separation.
Trajectory is good.
LDO, so
30
count one.
seconds to Miko.
Go.
About 30 seconds to Miko.
LDGC, no anomalies from the ground.
Standing by for Miko. Body rates continue to look
Stand
good
by.
throughout boost phase.
A lot of things are going to happen really quickly. We're going to have Miko, main engine cutoff, followed shortly by stage separation, and then payload flying jettison. Take a
We have
look.
Miko.
Engine
Separation.
We're looking down at the 2 BE3Us.
Stand by.
Miko confirmed.
Full thrust on direction. Now we have the engines.
You hear the cheers?
Engine
Miko.
on both BE3Us.
That's separation.
We're looking down at the 2 BE3Us.
Everything's looking nominal. GS2 ignition in full thrust.
Both BE3U engines.
You hear the cheers?
Engine on both BE3Us.
That's Team Blue you hear, by the way.
Payload fairing separation.
Everything's looking nominal. GS2 ignition in full thrust. Just over 4 minutes into flight. That beautiful blue marble.
Yep. Payload fairing separation.
Just over 4 minutes into here, everything is nominal. That beautiful blue marble. We've got our long-range cameras out on the booster. Yeah, we're hyped too. While it is a little low to hear that everything is nominal, you want to walk through what's about to happen now?
Yeah, so
we've got our long-range cameras out on the booster.
Very shortly here, or it might already have. Then once that's around,
we're hyped too.
We'll begin its descent back to Earth.
While it is a little low to hear Patrick, Alice, you want to walk through what's about to happen now?
Yeah, so GS1 will hit apogee very shortly here, or it might already
have. All right, we have confirmed apogee.
Then once that is confirmed,
the fully reusable booster will start its descent back, as Alice just said, heading towards Jacqueline, which is our landing platform, underway about 375 miles from here.
Then we'll have the atmospheric reentry and the landing burn.
All right, we have confirmed apogee.
2 minutes.
The fully reusable booster will start its descent back, as Alice just said, heading towards Jacqueline, which is our landing platform. And something that's about to happen here, the booster will go through those burns. The first is about 20 seconds long. The second burn will be an atmospheric reentry.
And in about 2 minutes, 3 of GS1's engines.
Body rate's phenomenal.
And something that's about to happen here, the booster will go through those burns. The first is about 20 seconds long. The second burn will be an atmospheric reentry.
1 minute remaining until ignition.
GS1 continuing through its turn. Body rate's phenomenal.
Passing 6 minutes into flight.
6 minutes into flight.
You're looking at a long-range camera.
1 minute remaining.
Everything
continues to look good. 1 minute remaining until engine ignition.
It's that little dot in the middle of your screen if you're tracking.
Engine pressures continue to look good. Body rate's phenomenal. 6 minutes, 35 seconds into flight.
You're looking at a long-range camera.
Completing its exo turn. Body rate's
everything
pitch yaw and roll. Data quality continues to look good.
It's that little dot in the middle of your screen if you're tracking.
Engine pressures continue to look good. Body rate's phenomenal. 6 minutes, 35 seconds into GS1 engine ignition.
Stand by for
GS1's completing its exo-turn. Body rate's nulling out. And passing 7 minutes into flight. Data quality continues to look good. And we see
There's a shot of
ignition
Jacqueline there.
on
Past 7
all
minutes into
engines.
flight.
GS1.
Stand by for
pressures look
GS1.
good. Body rate control looks good.
Ignition on all 3 engines on GS1.
Passing 7
Pressures
minutes
and
into flight.
temperatures look good.
Standing by for GS1
Again.
MECO shortly. GS2 engines continue to look good. And we see
There's a shot of Jacqueline there. Past 7 minutes into flight. We have our Patrick Moore inside mission control, and we are repeating a bit of what he's saying, just because it's a
Ignition
little
on all
difficult
3
to
engines
hear.
on GS1 and pressures and temperatures look good.
GS1 MECO confirmed. Standing by for GS1
Again.
MECO shortly. GS2 data on GS1 and GS2.
Awesome. We have the GS1 booster reentry burn. We have our Patrick Moore inside mission control, and we are repeating a bit of what he's saying, just because it's a little difficult to hear. Vehicle is reorienting itself.
Continue to see good data on GS1 and GS2.
Awesome. We have the GS1 booster reentry burn complete. And next up, we will see the landing burn.
GS1 descent max
Vehicle is reorienting itself.
Beautiful shot.
Oh my
of
gosh.
GS1 there.
GS1, seeing good activity on fins.
8.5 minutes into flight.
Desceu bonito. Parabéns, amigo.
Now passing through GS1 descent max through burn 1.
Passing through GS1.
About 30 seconds away from that landing burn.
Beautiful shot.
Oh my
of
gosh.
GS1 there.
Both engines GS1, seeing good activity on fins.
Sounds like the
8.5
engines look
minutes
good.
into flight.
On landing burn.
Estão de parabéns esses engenheiros, toda a
3 good
equipe
engines
da
on landing burn.
About
is
30
what I'm
seconds
hearing
away
from
from that
Patrick.
landing burn.
GS2 as expected.
Are they changing GS1?
They are.
Sounds like the low-level clouds.
On landing burn.
Tem delay, ele já desceu, deu tudo certinho.
Here we go.
Oh my. 3 good engines on landing burn is what I'm hearing from Patrick.
Are they changing GS1?
They are.
Low-level clouds. I'm hearing cheers of a touchdown. Here we go.
Oh my. I think touchdown is.
We see a lot of clouds of smoke there, but I'm hearing good cheers. Great drone shots there. There we have it.
Que show, né?
I'm hearing cheers of a touchdown. Welcome back once again. Never tell me the odds. We see a lot of clouds of smoke there, but I'm hearing good cheers.
GS1 on the landing barge.
Great drone shots there. There we have it.
Gente, espero que não dá certo, não deu certo, mas perfeito.
Welcome back once again. Never tell me the odds. It's good to say that twice, Alex.
Oh my gosh, it sure is. Look at that shot of GS1 on the landing barge. Beautiful landing.
We love it when it hits right in the middle of that feather. Jacqueline.
Love to see it. Never gets old.
It doesn't. Back home on Earth. Welcome back.
Que legal.
Second time. Look at
Yeah.
that. Beautiful shot.
It's nice to just sit on this for a second, isn't it?
Team Blue is still going.
Yeah.
Jacqueline.
You can see we're using our drones.
It doesn't.
Making sure we get this
home
beautiful shot for
on
you guys.
Earth.
Welcome back. This is shortly the ROV is going to come in and safe the vehicle.
Uma coisa incrível. Incrível. Eles têm muito
It's nice to just sit on this for a second, isn't it?
Team Blue is still going.
Yeah.
11 minutes.
You can see we're using our drones
because, of course,
making sure we get this
The
beautiful
booster
shot
is
for you
back.
guys. GS2 is going to
This
be
is shortly the
delivering
ROV is going to
our
come in and
payload
safe the
for
vehicle.
AST.
Yeah, the next milestone coming up for GS2 is going to be SECO 1. We should see that here shortly. We'll watch along
11
again
minutes
on
into
the,
flight, because of
timeline
course the
on
show
the
isn't
bottom of
over.
your
The
screen.
booster
Yeah,
is
that's
back.
coming up
At about
at
the
the
13-minute mark is going to be
Now,
delivering
SECO 1
our
stands
payload
for
second stage
AST.
engine cutoff number 1.
Yeah, the next
upper stage
milestone
finishes
coming
its
up
first
for
burn
GS2
and
is going to
starts
be
coasting.
SECO 1. We should see
And
that
about
about
an hour
shortly.
and
10 minutes after
We'll
flight,
watch along again
after liftoff. SECO 1,
timeline,
which is the
on the
second
bottom of your
engine
screen. Yeah, that's coming
cutoff.
up
Again,
at about the
for the second
13-minute
time,
mark.
But a shorter burn
Now,
burn
SECO 1 stands for Second Stage Engine Cutoff Number 1. The upper stage finishes its first burn and starts coasting.
Fine-tunes the orbit. And then about an hour and 10 minutes after
AST
flight, after liftoff, SECO 1, which is the
BlueBird
second
7 satellite. Big shout out to our friends at AST.
Again, for the second time, but a shorter burn. That burn fine-tunes the orbit.
Buster touchdown.
Our AST
Então tá, pessoal.
customer.
Agora vamos ver se eles vão
BlueBird
mostrar a
7 satellite.
imagem
Big
do
shout out to our
segundo
friends at
estágio, que
AST
tá com
who
os
are tuning in
satélites.
today.
Não sei se eles perderam o sinal da
Never tell me
imagem.
the odds. A perfect name if you ask
Era
me.
muito empolgante mostrar essa parte, né? Da plataforma, embora eles já fizeram outros lançamentos e tudo deu certo. Estão bem treinados. Foi muito legal.
Hey, Team Blue, we hear you. It's the best part of being here, Alice. Team Blue shows up time and time again.
They sure do.
Shouting out.
Early morning.
Early morning. Shout out, of course, to our friends over in Kent, Washington. Extra early for them. Huntsville, Alabama. West Texas over at Launch Site 1. And the home of New Glenn, Rocket Park here in Florida. And our friends who are out at Cars Park as well. Hey, guys. Looking good.
Legal. Parabéns. Eles estão de parabéns. Tem que comemorar mesmo.
And I'm hearing SECO 1 is confirmed. That is the second stage engine cutoff, number 1. We just can't get enough of seeing GS1 sitting here on the Jacqueline.
So we have to talk a little bit more, as we mentioned, about what is coming up. So we just passed SECO 1, and then in about an hour and 10 minutes into flight, we'll have SECO 2. That is the second stage engine cutoff, again, after a shorter second burn that fine-tunes the orbit.
And then finally, an hour and 15 minutes and 44 seconds to be exact into flight, the AST BlueBird 7 satellite separates from the second stage. And that's the moment we officially deliver our customer payload to orbit.
Yeah, and of course, bringing back Never Tell Me the Odds is a huge deal for us here, but the mission isn't quite over. Those are the milestones that do still lie ahead. You've got a drone shot there, of course, Jacqueline, and the booster Never Tell Me the Odds. But it's been a great day to be a part of Team Blue. If you want to, you can follow the progress of what's happening with our payload on social media as the flight is progressing.
But before we let you go, if you like what you saw and you want to be part of Team Blue, we are hiring. Come join us. And if you like what we're wearing, we are certainly selling it. And if you want the mission packs, you can find all of it on BlueOrigin.com. Including the Estes rocket here that supports our nonprofit Club for the Future.
Yeah, we've got to give a big shout out to Club for the Future. We love inspiring the next generation to get involved in STEM and STEAM. Of course, that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Thank you guys for joining us today. It has been a great day to fly. I am Tabitha Lipkin for Alice Watts, Ben Durkee, Patrick Moore, and the more than 10,000 people who work here at Blue and make everything we do here possible. Thank you for watching. We will see you at the next one. For Dottom.
Até mais.